The man casually stir-fried 2 plates of shredded potatoes, which amazed 3 five-star chefs, who exclaimed in unison that it was incredibly delicious. They couldn't believe a young man could make something so ordinary taste so good. The female CEO, skeptical, decided to take a bite. The next moment, she offered $3 million to buy the patent for the dish. The man, dumbfounded, thought they must be out of their minds, unaware that the culinary world had just regressed by 3,000 years. Earlier, while delivering ingredients to the restaurant, the man accidentally saw his girlfriend fooling around with a rich heir in the kitchen. Angrily, he confronted his girlfriend, but the rich heir knocked him to the ground. In that moment, he unexpectedly activated a culinary system, causing the culinary world to regress by 3,000 years. A simple fried rice could dominate the global menu for 10 years, and only the man's cooking skills remained unchanged. When he woke up, he received a call from his boss, urging him to deliver ingredients. Upon arriving at the restaurant, he happened to find the female CEO tasting new dishes. The dishes included seafood dumplings, pig intestines, and boiled potatoes. Seeing the cheap ingredients, the CEO suspected that the 3 five-star chefs were trying to fool her. The chefs explained that these dishes were the result of 3 years of research, having traveled the world to learn from various culinary masters. The man couldn't help but laugh, claiming that those 3 dishes weren't even as good as what he had made for his ex-girlfriend. This displeased the 5-star chefs, who threatened that if the man couldn't cook better than them today, he wouldn't leave alive. With no choice, the man steeled himself to cook. He picked up the potatoes and began peeling them. The chefs were astonished, having never seen anyone peel potatoes before cooking. They questioned his methods, thinking he was ruining perfectly good potatoes. However, the man didn't argue with them. The CEO thought to herself that he was just a regular delivery guy, who probably didn't know much about cooking. But the next moment, the man began to stir-fry the shredded potatoes in an iron pan. In just 1 minute, the dish was ready. Though it lacked the flamboyant techniques of the chefs, the simple sweet and sour shredded potatoes tasted exceptional. Everyone who tasted it was instantly amazed. The CEO not only paid $3 million for the patent of the dish, but also offered $10 million for the man to represent their restaurant in a culinary competition. Knowing he could only make a few home-cooked dishes, the man felt he didn't have the skill to compete. However, the CEO promised that if he helped her win the competition, not only would the restaurant be his, but she would also marry him. Unable to resist the temptation, the man agreed to compete, but upon arriving at the venue, he was shocked to find his ex-girlfriend and the rich heir there as well. The rich heir openly mocked him, asking what right a delivery guy had to compete. Fortunately, the CEO arrived just in time, stating that the man was there to represent their restaurant. Then the intense culinary competition officially began. First, the contestants selected the dishes they would prepare, with different dishes having corresponding difficulty levels. The top 3 contestants chose dishes with difficulty levels over 200. Seeing this made the man feel a bit anxious, as he was just a delivery employee and thought he couldn't win the competition. However, among the remaining dishes was a fried rice, and he felt relieved and chose that one. Unexpectedly, the difficulty level was as high as 999, since fried rice had dominated the culinary competition's top spot for 10 years without anyone daring to challenge it. Everyone believed the man could never make that dish, but now he had no other choice, and had to tough it out to make the fried rice. After the judges tasted the dishes of the top 3 contestants, they all gave positive reviews, especially for the 3rd contestant's dish, which was nearly a champion. Frightened, the man hesitated to serve his fried rice. The judges raised their golden hammers to smash down, and suddenly, a golden light radiated from the fried rice, stunning everyone present. When they looked closely, they realized there was a bowl of fried rice inside the pot. This dish had topped the world's culinary charts for a decade. Unexpectedly, it was made by a delivery guy. The judges, excited, took a bite, and immediately cried out in delight, calling it a heavenly dish. The young man had intended to use this ordinary fried rice to fool the competition, but to his surprise, he received unanimous praise from the judges. Even his rivals, after tasting it, couldn't help but rave about it, claiming his fried rice was better than that of the culinary god. However, to undermine him, one rival deliberately stated that the fried rice was unremarkable. The young man's boss, a female CEO, wanted to prove the fried rice could win the competition, and distributed it to everyone present. The competing chefs, after tasting it, found it unbelievable, rushing to compete for a taste, declaring it a lifelong honor to eat it. Yet, the young man still doubted that an ordinary fried rice could win the competition. The female CEO reassured him not to worry. As expected, the judges all voted for him, and the young man won the first round of the culinary competition. The audience unanimously hailed him as the new culinary god. Seeing this, his ex-girlfriend asked him for the fried rice recipe, promising to marry him if he shared it. Now, even though she didn't want a bride price, the young man still refused to marry her, drawing laughter from the audience. Then came the second round, the noodle dish competition. To retaliate for the young man rejecting her, the ex-girlfriend vowed to make a noodle soup to win. However, the first contestant suddenly made steamed buns, something only a few in the world could do. Thus, everyone believed he had a high chance of winning. Seeing the first contestant's buns, the ex-girlfriend felt deflated, worried her noodle soup wouldn't stand a chance. But her boss suggested she add the culinary god's secret seasoning, which could turn the noodle soup into a worthy competitor. The female CEO, seeing the strong dishes from both contestants, worried the young man might feel too much pressure, telling him it was okay even if he lost this round. However, the young man's culinary skills were 3,000 years ahead of modern techniques, thinking both the buns and noodle soup were too ordinary. Suddenly, the first contestant shaped 3 buns at once, a feat unprecedented. The young man looked at the oddly shaped buns with disdain, then began to use Tai Chi techniques to shape his buns. The crowd was captivated by his unique movements, and soon, he produced smooth, round buns. The first contestant lost confidence, feeling he would lose again. Suddenly, the young man picked up a rolling pin, and flattened the buns he had just made, then wrapped meat filling inside, planning to make meat buns. After the second round of culinary competition ended, the judges tasted the ex-girlfriend's noodle soup, and the first contestant's buns, declaring both dishes to be nearly divine. Quickly, the young man presented his meat buns for the judges to taste. After tasting, the judges stood up and shouted divine. Curious, they asked how he could make 2 divine dishes in a row. Ultimately, there was no doubt that the young man became the new culinary god. After the competition, the young man's fried rice caused a sensation throughout the city. Even the culinary god himself took a bite, finding the fried rice tastier than his own. When his granddaughter wanted to taste it, she was stopped. The culinary god is afraid of being surpassed and deliberately says that the fried rice is too hard to eat. The granddaughter suspected that the young man was posing as her grandfather's apprentice, and angrily went to confront him.